Today I am bringing you along as I put together some fall porch decor DIYs. I'm super excited for these. They turned out really cute and they would be really cute set out on your front porch. Now these are using some Dollar Tree items, so I wouldn't just put these out in the sun or the rain. I would make sure that these are going to stay underneath a covered porch. But without further ado, let's get on into crafting and show you how I put together these really cute fall porch DIYs. The first project that I'm going to be making is this beautiful personalized pumpkin sign that makes such a huge statement piece for less than $5. For this video, I'm going to be making it out of these 3 Beware signs that I picked up from Dollar Tree, but I definitely recommend going and getting woodcut or using some pallet wood if you do want a more sturdy sign. So the first thing I'm going to be doing is just flipping these over and removing all of the ribbon and the tags, and then I just didn't like those holes there. So I'm using some of my wood filler. I did mix a little bit of water in there, that's why it looks weird. So I'm really trying to mix it up and then just filled in those holes with this nice wood filler. So to attach these boards together, I had a couple extra of these fall yardsticks. I'm going to go ahead and remove the boards on there and use the 2 long pieces, and this just worked out really nice. I was able to glue all 3 boards to these. You can see that I tried to trim this down with a Dollar Tree hacksaw and it did fall apart several times on me. I tried to put it back together, so I ended up just breaking off one, and then I learned it was so much easier if you just kind of scored the area you wanted it to break with a pair of scissors, and then it snapped right off exactly how I wanted it. So I ended up putting these on both ends, and I just ended up hot gluing this, but later on I might go back and try to add a couple staples. I wanted to use spray paint on this larger board, so I took this outside and tried to give it a nice coat, but it was super windy outside, so hardly any of my spray paint was going on there, so I had to wait and spray it a little bit later. But I wanted to try this really neat effect for a long time. I found these felt leaves at Dollar Tree a while back, and I thought they would be such a fun stencil to find out a way to use them. So I just scattered them out and picked out the couple different designs of leaves that I really liked, and I just alternated between them kind of in a circular pattern all the way around the sign. Now, if I was going to make this again, I wish that I would have glued a few leaves that were kind of hanging off the edges so that there would be a little bit more. But I am just barely adding the tiniest bit of hot glue to the back of these so that I will be able to pull them back up. So then I'm using some white spray paint, and I'm just going to completely cover this sign and go over the leaves, making sure that I try not to spray underneath of the leaves, but that I do spray from directly above. So I let that completely dry, and as you can tell, I paid extra attention to the edges because I am going to be painting that big pumpkin in the center, so I didn't worry about getting it perfect white. So I'm just going to go through and pick up all of my little leaves. Some of the glue residue was there, so I did pick that off, and then it did peel up some of the gray paint, but I still think it looks really pretty. I didn't mind that, and I think it gave it a cool effect. So I'm using one of these dollar felt pumpkins from Dollar Tree, and these have been perfect this year for using as stencils. I took a pencil and I just traced along there, and this will give me the perfect pattern to be able to paint. I was wanting more of like a burnt orange color instead of just using my plain pumpkin bright orange paint, so I'm mixing a little bit of my truffle brown in there just to kind of darken it up a bit. I love using the darker colors as the base, and then I'll go in there and add some highlights and some shadows, but I'm going to give this a nice thick base coat, and I think the color of this turned out beautiful. It was just the perfect color orange that I was going for.
Every change has a reason. Baby, let it come to you. Every soul, every season lives outside of status quo. If we stop believing we're meant to be, expanding our abilities.
So then I'm going to take some more of the original orange color and just kind of do the shape of the pumpkin do some like round brush strokes so it will show up like it is curved. And I love doing this. You find like a medium color that you want to paint as the base color, and then using the original color just to make some highlights, and this will just dry a little bit lighter and look really pretty and give it a lot of dimension. Also adding a little bit more brown into that medium color and then giving the outline and the shape. I just think it looked so cute. I love how it turned out. So as I mentioned before, I would have been more happy with this sign if I was able to add some more leaves that were kind of hanging off the edges or in that white space that's around the edges. So I thought it was a genius idea to paint one of these leaves and kind of stamp it down. It should work right, but it didn't. So I had so much trouble getting that to work. I even tried to trace it and I just couldn't get that pretty little design in the center. So I just forgot about it. I still love how it come together, but like I say, if you are making this, I would recommend adding that in. I printed off a large initial off of my computer, and then I'm just going to scribble on the back so I can transfer it on top of this pumpkin. I do like to cut out my little designs so that I can see exactly where they're going to be. You also could write welcome or blessed or welcome to our home or anything you would like on this pumpkin. I just thought a large initial would be really pretty. And then after transferring it on there, it's just the perfect little stencil that I'm able to outline it with one of my Sharpie paint markers. And then after I get the outline, I'm able to easily go in with some black paint and just fill it all in. I wanted the edges to look a little rustic and weathered, so I'm using some really coarse sandpaper, and I love how it causes these little scratches. I think it really makes it look like barn wood or old wood. So I'm just trying to go in one direction and just scratch along the edges of this sign. I decided to go with a bow at the top of this pumpkin. You definitely could just add in like the burlap leaves from Dollar Tree. That would be really pretty. But I'm just putting together a super simple little burlap bow. This ribbon actually came from Walmart, but you can definitely use the burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree. And I'm just tying a loop of ribbon as well as another longer piece, and that just gives me the perfect bow. I also angle the tail so that it does give it a little bit more put together look. And this is how it came together. I think it looks so beautiful. I love the orange color and how it came out. If you was to purchase this from a craft show or from a store, you would pay a lot more than $5.
Maybe I never knew what I really wanted, but looking back I can see it's all clear. I'm still a kid.
Moving on to my next DIY is this 3 pumpkin stackable little porch sign, and this was made with mostly Dollar Tree items, so I'm excited to show you how I put that together. So the first thing that I did was pick out a few different size pumpkins. I actually already had picked these up from Dollar Tree, but these worked perfect. I was able to stack them really nicely, and I think that they were the perfect size on top of each other. So I wanted to do 3 different colors of these stacked pumpkins. You definitely can pick out any color that you would like. I am loving that orange with the moss green color, so I wanted to incorporate that. And then I didn't want to do any bright white in my pumpkin stack, so I'm using this beautiful beige color, and this is actually called Mineral by Waverly. I'm still getting a ton of questions about where I pick up my Waverly chalk paints. I just purchased mine from Walmart. I will put a link down below. Sometimes they have them and sometimes they're out of stock, but you can purchase them from walmart.com a lot of the times. So after I get my base coat on there, then I'm going to be using the truffle color and mix it a tiny bit on there, and then do the shading with that. And you will see that I will do this with all 3 pumpkins. It's just a perfect way to darken up the paint and add the shadowing, but it's still kind of going along with that base color. And then as you can see, in the places that was too dark, I just take the original color and just kind of brush back over it, and I just love that effect and what it looks like. You can see that I keep forgetting to remove the little hangers, so I do recommend doing that first, and then going and completely covering that with your paint.
Standing underneath the lights, each other's eyes. Tired snowflakes are coming down, collapse into water when they hit.
You can look up stacked pumpkins to get inspired for your colors. I saw that a lot of people were painting like stacked pumpkins with a turquoise color, and it was beautiful. I just don't have a lot of turquoise outside, so I did want to go with this muted green color, but I really like my color choice. I'm taking some of the pumpkin orange color and mixing that or painting that base coat, and then I will darken that with a little bit of my truffle color too. And I intentionally put my orange pumpkin at the top because I knew this would be setting around in the little fall scenery with all of my bright orange pumpkins, my real pumpkins, setting around the bottom. So I didn't want those oranges to clash together, so I did intentionally paint the one at the top to be orange.
I hear the sound of empty streets. Yesterday.
This pumpkin is the only one that its stem is going to show at the top, so I did go ahead and paint that with some of my truffle color paint. I kept getting really excited, adding in so much shading, and then I kept forgetting that I wanted to put words on these pumpkins and I want them to show up, so I don't want the pumpkin to be super busy. So I do mute that down with a little bit of the original color. So then it was time to put these together. I pulled the little metal leaf around on the top pumpkin and then stacked these up. I was so excited with how these were going already because they stacked up so beautifully. I'm going to be using one of my Dollar Tree metal words, and I covered this in a couple layers of just black chalk paint, but I do recommend spray painting that if you do have that on hand. And then, since it's almost impossible to glue these down with hot glue, I ended up using a little bit of E6000 and then weighting that down with some of my paint bottles.
So all that's left is you and me. I can promise you're the only thing I see.
I wanted this to say welcome to our patch, so I needed to find a way to make the other letters on the other pumpkins, and I thought that I would be using these poster stickers from Dollar Tree. So I put out 2 hour on the center pumpkin and then put patch on the bottom pumpkin, but I soon figured out that I did not like both of these fonts matching since the welcome at the top wasn't matching. I just didn't like that the center pumpkin had the capital letters. So I do end up trading those out and just kind of freehanding those, and I also put the little patch word closer together, all of those letters. So like I say, I'm removing those, and then I had this little printout that had come from a sign I had made earlier, welcome to our home. So I took that and just kind of looked at it and then freehanded the little 2 hour. To hold these pumpkins in place, I'm adding quite a bit of hot glue in between these pumpkins, and just to make sure that they are going to stay in the same place. Now this is a part, if you don't want to mess with real wood, you can just add a couple of those yard stakes and stake this down into a planter, but I wanted this to be really nice and sturdy for myself, so I'm using one of these 1.5 inch boards that I picked up from Home Depot, and this was 8 foot, but I did cut it down into, I think it was 21 inches long, and I'm going to hot glue this onto the back, leaving a little bit of overhang so it will stand up. And like I say, you definitely can add those wooden stakes and just make like a cheaper version of this if you did want to put it down into a planter or stake it in the ground. But personally, I just wanted there to be a nice sturdy base so that this would stand up underneath the covered porch. So while I was doing all of that, I ended up breaking off the top little stem, so I had to glue that back on and then cover up the little broken piece with a piece of my raffia bow and the original metal leaf. And then I didn't mention, but I did just screw that 1.5 inch board to just a scrap piece of pine wood that I had. I just cut it off about 8 inches, and that just gave it the perfect base. I styled it with my wagon wheel, and then I just think it all turned out really good. I do recommend covering all of these in some Rust-Oleum clear spray paint just to make sure that it is getting the extra protection that it needs.
Look into each other's eyes.
Dollar Tree has out these little basket textured little buckets right now, or little tubs organizers, but I thought this would be so cute just to set my mums down in, and it really just elevates the look and adds that extra pop of color and gives it a larger base. I just set mine down in there for now, but I think that this looked really cute. I also think my DIY Dollar Tree scarecrow looked so cute out on the porch, and I will link that video down below if you've never saw it, but I show step by step exactly how I painted him and put him together. Thank you all for watching today. I had fun putting these projects together. Let me know in the comments below which one of these projects was your favorite or something that you might try to recreate. Also, let me know how you decorate your porch outside. Do you use a lot of real pumpkins and mums, or do you purchase like artificial pumpkins and then put out a lot of DIY decor? I would love to know. Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye!